Hey, what's up, y'all? So I have to be honest. Doing these videos and doing video is not necessarily my strength yet. God will help me with my speaking ability. That's why I love the platform that I have with Totally Naked, where I get to share the camera and the microphone with 3 other co-hosts or whoever else is joining in on a conversation. Just because I don't want to be the main focus. However, I'm here today because I truly do believe that God has placed something in my heart to share with you guys that would be beneficial and helpful to whoever's listening. I know that we have been dealing a lot with this healthcare crisis. And before you guys, I know we talked about it before, but I want you to really hear me out here. That you might not know this, but over the past few weeks, because of the increased cases of COVID-19, I had to work in a newly developed COVID unit at my job. It wasn't something that we had before, but because the cases in Florida started to increase and we started having more cases at our facility, we had to open it up so that we can care for our residents. And I have to be honest with you that I struggled a lot with fear initially with COVID, especially in the beginning. But then it started to subside after we started to have some of the personal equipment available. And so some of those fears started to subside then. But I literally had to just face fear smack dead right in his face when being placed in a position to work with our COVID patients that are at our facility. I mean, no one's jumping to place themselves in harm's way when it comes to a virus that you can't see, you don't know where it is, and that you actually hear very often, whether it's on the social media or on the news, that is deadly. People are dying. You watch the numbers of all the deaths that are occurring. It's global. It's not only happening here in the United States, but in Italy and Germany. And so everywhere, there's no escaping the COVID. I think that what God showed me through being a part of the COVID unit at our facility is that fear, 1, is paralyzing, but 2, that when you really face fear for what it is, you can look at the image that you created in your mind of the worst case scenarios. The worst case scenarios, you play it in your head. Oh gosh, I'll get it. And then you see yourself and you imagine yourself with the illness and not being able to conquer it. And maybe you look and you see yourself being one of those rare cases of being in the ICU and on a ventilator or whatever. But the images that come to mind prevent you from being able to really see things for what they are. We don't even, sometimes I know that working in the healthcare field, we have things in place and have had things in place from the onset, like we had to wear a mask. And for those of you who are listening who goes back and forth on, we don't need no mask, or, it was all government and plan. I know that we may have our conspiracy theories, but the diseases or the virus is here. And there are things that we can do in the natural that can help prevent the spread of it. Mirroring some of the things that you see happening at medical facilities. Medical facilities, they are doing temperature checks. They've been doing temperature checks. You should do temperature checks. Checking your temperature is a way for you to reduce the spread. Also, wearing something over your face so that you are not, when you cough or when you sneeze, that it goes more so in the mask versus being diverted outward, and those droplets being able to reach someone else's nasal passages or in their mouth, and they end up contracting the virus. And so wearing PPE, personal protective equipment, is something that in the healthcare field that they are doing. And so focusing on the facts, these are the facts, that when you wear these things, then you really reduce the spread of this. That, in the healthcare field, you don't get a choice, or there's no option of not being able to help care for these patients. Someone's got to take care of them. And so these are some of the things that they are doing to help reduce the spread and prevent the transmission of COVID from patient to healthcare worker. Okay. And so doing something like that would be in your best benefit. And so, walking around and saying I'm not wearing a mask because it's all a hoax and no one's gonna, I think that isn't wisdom. Okay. Secondly, I think that being able to look at what has happened in the United States, especially when it comes to the numbers of people who have moved from that mild to moderate type of episode to severe because of underlying conditions. When we look at the numbers more here in the United States, we realize that we have a health crisis that was before COVID hit the scene, we were dealing with, but people kind of just, mask it, which is that we have these comorbidities like diabetes and congestive heart failure or heart conditions and hypertension. Many of these things that are more preventable when we look at our diets and when we look at our activity levels or exercise, activity, just activity in general. We're a sedentary community or society here. And so I think that COVID has shown us that we need to look at how we are managing our health, because unfortunately that when you have those comorbidities or those underlying conditions, that the disease can progress more aggressively than it does with a person who has more of a healthy immune system and their systems, major systems with their cardiac and their respiratory systems are more intact. And so it's important for us to realize there are things that we can do before we don't want the disease. We don't want to have it, but this is to say, hey, you know what? Let me look at what I'm eating. What is it that am I really taking in true nutrition? Looking at those nutritional facts on the back of the packages. I know it seems silly, but or you know what, I just really want to get something. But sometimes we're eating foods that have no nutritional value at all. And so being able to understand that our body requires vitamins, it requires vital minerals. Basically, when you look at the word vitamin, it's just broken down to vital minerals. And that's something and things that our body needs. Increasing your vitamin C so that your immunity is higher. Things like zinc help build your immunity. Turmeric can build your immunity and your system and decrease inflammation in your body. So these are things that we want to take a look at. More alkaline. Water. Our body is made 70% of water. Drinking more water so we don't need to drink as many sodas. So there are things that we can do now. Make some adjustments, because we don't know how long this COVID-19 is going to be here, or before they'll find some synthetic way of being able to treat the COVID-19. But I will tell you that right now, the ways that we're treating it is with vitamins. And so if you can build your immunity on the natural side, these are things that you can do to help build your system up so that you are able to better fight any virus or bacteria that you may experience, because our body has immunity. Okay, and actually I want to talk about, I just talked about immunity on the physical side, but there's also immunity that we can build on the spiritual side. Our pastor just recently started a series called Wrecked, and it's been a phenomenal series so far, but wrecked in a sense that we're not wrecked in life, but we're wrecked when we are in the presence of God. Everything else that is physical totally just gone to the wayside, and just really engrossing ourselves and being just engrossed in the presence of God. In the presence of God, we find liberty, we find strength, his holy presence. Chains are broken, diseases are healed. And so we want to seek the presence of God. One of the ways that we do that in prayer. We do that by speaking in tongues. I don't know, some of you that may be foreign language to you. And even in the body of Christ, some people don't speak tongues. I know I was one of those people that, did not want to and was not interested in falling out. But God has given us an advocate through Holy Spirit that is able to help us talk in our heavenly language. Things that we don't even conceptualize in our mind. We're not thinking when we're speaking in tongues. They've actually done MRIs on people who are speaking in tongues, and parts of the brain that would, in our normal language, when we speak, that would light up. They're not lighting up because it's somewhere else in the brain. So how magnificent is that? And so we have the ability to build our spiritual immunity up and allow God's presence to saturate us and to fill us up. And in his presence, depression has to flee. Fear, anxiety has to go, and then you're able to hear from God, and God can download things to you. He can tell you things about, who is it that I'm supposed to be around? God can, put something in your spirit when you're really connected in his presence, and he'll be like, don't go there. Or it's okay for you to be here. And so we face the fear. And we are able to say, I trust God. And there's so much liberty and freedom. I can't tell you that by being in this unit and being right up close and personal with people, I actually feel like I'm on a missions field. I've done missions, in other countries, and then also like some missions around in different places. But it's interesting to be at work and, being in a mission field and being God's hands and feet, loving on these people, not treating them as disease, being able to feel the pain of their family members when they have to talk to them through the window and try to figure out ways for them to communicate and try to have some kind of human connection. And being that hug, being that love that their family members aren't able to give. And so it's been a unique experience. I'm still going through it, but I just really want to encourage you guys that we don't have to live in fear, and that when we are acting in wisdom, doing the things, face the facts. Let's not live with the imagination of what ifs and what could. Let's seek God's wisdom and his guidance on what it is that we can do those things and live life. Let's live life to our fullest. Yes, we can do some preventative things. Wear a mask. If you can get an N95 mask, get an N95 mask. That's even better. But, social distance, those things work. These are the things that they're doing in the healthcare facility. So you want to mirror some of those things, and so that we can kind of move past where we are right now and start to live our lives, and hopefully in some normalcy will return. All right. I love you guys. I hope this helps. Please comment, give me some of your experiences, and let me know if there's anything that you have a question about, because like I said, I'm facing it right smack dead in the face every day, but God is keeping me. All right. Love you.